Okay, thank you for joining this half-done video of replacing the horn on a smart car. In fact, you guys didn't get to see the beginning of this, but it's not tough. What I eventually found out before you even do anything is that the easiest way to get to the horn is to move the headlight. I didn't even have to disconnect the cables. There's only 3 bolts to hold the headlight in place. Primarily, once I had removed that, I was able to get to the horn. As you can see, it's sitting right there in plain sight. They only had the positive standard connection, positive and negative standard connections. 1 bolt down there, which I have not removed yet, and I think my cables are blocking that bolt. And my replacement horn is probably going to have another accessory, a longer bolt, added onto it. But real quick, I removed the 3 front bolts here. The middle one held the hood in place. This here, you can see I started to separate this from the back side. I don't think that was a necessary step. I think what you really just have to have a little bit of flexibility to pull the body forward and get this light out of the way. Other things that were done, and I'll show you when I put this back together, is to have that antenna assembly removed. 1 pin down there, and don't worry about the pin that is behind the front driver's side wheel. I did, however, loosen up that one down there, and I think we're going to put that pin back in shortly. Again, as I found out after the fact, that may not have been necessary. So we're going to go ahead and take out that old horn, and we'll update you soon. And by the way, we have already tested the new one, and it blasts. It does blast you away. So we won't be testing it here once we get it set up, except to make sure that our positive and negatives are correct. So we'll catch you guys in just a few minutes. Okay, I got the horn out using a 13mm socket on the back. And here's the part that I'm not happy about. This horn, and we'll try to do this. Actually, first I want you to see that little thing with the empty hole right there. That's lovely. That was actually angled up a little bit. I'm sorry if that's out of focus. I actually took this screwdriver, put it through here, and on both sides, I pushed it down to give me a little more room in that cavity. Because for this particular horn, that is the only way it's going to work. Because I want to make sure that for the horn, its ports are down so it doesn't collect water, and that these things are unobstructed. So here's, well, it's going to be a little goofy while I try to fit it in there. And I also wanted to make sure that the connections were in the back. So that's down, and these are going to be in the back. Now let me get into place before I give you a better view. Alright, so it's kind of in there, and it's sitting on top of it. Bracket in there. And you can see it's in there somewhat. But what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to zip tie it. I don't want to, but I'm also not going to spend 5 hours mounting this thing. Not that it would take 5 hours. It would take a little bit of time to get in there, move that bracket around, but the problem is, here's the mounting bracket piece for the horn. It doesn't give me that kind of play where this is going to be face down, these ports in the back, and give me access to that hole there while lining it up to there. Although there is one more option now that I just popped into my head. Perhaps setting it like that and mounting it. So we'll try one more thing. We'll give you guys an update. Okay, for those of you who are hoping along with me, sorry to disappoint. We did come to the point of zip ties. I managed to push that bracket down, as you saw. I had to push it back to the same position. When I put the horn on the back side of it, I couldn't get the matchup that I wanted with this bracket and the existing bracket to make it so the holes were down and so the electrical ports were in the back. As you can see right now, I have been able to reach that goal, again using the zip tie. But the problem is when this gets screwed back down, is this going to get in the way? And that just flips down. See, it's going to flip down and look like that. At that point, that's the hardest part. The hardest part is really done. I just got to flip everything down. If that doesn't match up and make it look right, it's going to have to be back to square one with mounting. But I think the hardest part of this is over. Okay, real quick, just want to show you my last safety line that I ran through here. I had to run the other one through the back on both parts. So this one is not as tight as the first one. That's so in case this one does pop, I've got this one holding on. I'm a little worried about that little guy there. You can see it's got a little bit of white stressing going on it, but I think that's going to do. And say hello to Quincy, the barking dog. If you can see him. Maybe not. Okay.
I told you guys about the guy we put out here.
And lastly, for the most part, the Smartcar is back together again. It's a real piece of cake. You can just go in reverse and take a look at some of the other pins and screws that I showed you. But some that you didn't get to see earlier is the setup, or the little assembly for the antenna. A piece of cake, but it's the only area on the Smartcar so far that I found in my, just for replacing the pins there, or the horn. This one here is a slightly larger star screwdriver. And in fact, it is a star. Let's see, primarily you'll use the T25, but for that particular one, you'll use the T27. This tool comes in really handy. And really, the only tools we've used so far are this piece here. Although we have all that stuff out, we've only used that screwdriver. We've used a small wire cutter in order to just get in between the pins, if I may show you that. I don't have the wire cutter readily available, but just to separate the, oh, I didn't have any pins here. I screwed up. So right here, you can see I just put this thing in the wire cutter in there to pull the pins out and pull out the extra holding bracket. After we get the last couple screws on, we'll take her around the block and let you guys hear some noise. And of course, we didn't get any video with the existing horn in place, but oh well, you're not missing anything, trust me. Okay, here we go. Too bad I didn't get any sound of the horn before we changed it out, but if you have... There, you hit it again. So there you go, that's it. If you have a Smartcar, you know what it sounds like before. Now, it's much better. Want to give me one more honk? There you go. Merry Christmas. And there's our driver.